Federal government distributes bags of rice to hundreds of vulnerable persons in Katsina State. Educationists want Nigeria to attract best brains in teaching profession for improved education standards. Bayelsa State government approves additional 61 billion naira variation cost on Nembe Brass Road project. Thanks for joining us on the news desk at 3 live on NTA News 24. I am Comfort Amodu and we're live in Abuja. Now, as the world marks Habitat Day, the young ones, also referred to as millennials and Gen Z, are called to step up and act as driving force behind sustainable urban development. Earlier Executive Director Gloria Initiative for Food Security and Ecosystem Preservation, Dr. Michael Terungwa, was in our studio to speak about the significance of this year's theme, Youth to Create a Better Urban Future.
Very important is because we're looking at climate change and its effects on habitat, especially urban habitats. You will see that with climate change, when flooding comes, homes are washed away, houses are destroyed. When the heat comes, it becomes unbearable to live in the kind of shelter that we develop now. So looking at the future, we are looking at young people who can come in with their innovation and technology to work with the older generation to come up with climate resilient building, smart cities of the future.
World Habitat Day is a day set aside to reflect on the state of towns and cities and on the basic rights of all to decent and adequate shelter. It is a reminder that everyone has a responsibility to shape the future of habitable spaces. 424 households comprising 3,383 people from 10 communities drawn from Konduga IDP's camp have been resettled at 500 houses estate in Konduga town. Governor Babagana Umara Zulum inaugurated the estate and flagged off the resettlement exercise, warning the beneficiaries not to sell the houses. Details with Mohammed Goni.
The 424 male and female heads of households, beneficiaries of the two-bedroom semi-detached houses, also receive food and non-food items as well as 50,000 naira, while 397 housewives got 20,000 naira in addition to the food and non-food items. Lawan Ali and Zara Mai were among the elated beneficiaries and expressed gratitude to the Borno State government for returning them to normal lives after spending years at IDP's camps. Governor Zulum said the resettlement of the 10 communities signaled commencement of closure of camps in Kandiga and reiterated commitment to resettling displaced communities before the end of his tenure.
Very soon, Borno State government in collaboration with the local government council, Kandiga local government council, will start the construction of Aulari village.
Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Reconstruction, Rehabilitation and Resettlement, Lawan Ali Goni, noted that the resettlement of the 3,383 people cutting across age and gender is voluntary and done in a dignified manner. Elder statesman Kaka Malam Yali and Kandiga local government chairman Abba Abari appreciated Governor Zulum for the developmental projects in the area. They also noted state government's commitment to resettling more communities such as Delwa and urged the beneficiaries not to sell the houses and other commodities given to them. In Maiduguri, Mohammed Goni, NTA News.
As part of its food security program, the federal government has launched the distribution of over 21,000 bags of rice in Katsina State to alleviate economic hardship. And this distribution is intended to address food insecurity concerns in the state, especially in light of socio-economic factors. Awal Haliru reports from Katsina.
The initiative targets vulnerable women, youth groups, and various segments of the population, aligning with the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The intervention is also expected to bring relief to many households struggling to access basic necessities, particularly in rural areas. Senior Special Assistant to the President on Political Matters and Chairman of the Distribution Committee emphasized the focus of the initiative on supporting vulnerable individuals.
The President appreciates your support and continued cooperation and endurance. At this trying moment, one, the federal government is working hard to ensure that Nigeria is put back on the right track. When we take on board, we discover that a lot of sacrifice must be done in order to get things working for the betterment of Nigeria and Nigeria as a people.
The distribution plans to empower beneficiaries to address some of their challenges for a more resilient and self-sufficient community. Katsina State Governor Dukorada stated that the rice distribution would boost socio-economic activities in the state. The governor commended the commitment of the federal government to completing key infrastructure projects to enhance the state's connectivity and facilitate economic growth. The distribution committee would ensure fair and efficient distribution at local and ward levels across the state. In Katsina, Awal Haliru, NTA News.
And to place more value on education, educationists want Nigeria to prioritize and attract the best brains to the teaching profession to equip Nigerians for global competitiveness. They are emphatic that it is the only way to harness education as the most powerful tool for development. Lydia Sampson reports.
The Ministry of Education, focusing on placing value on the teaching profession, is a reminder to recognize teachers and what they sacrifice and bequeath to humanity. He says the Ministry of Education is resolved to implement policies to better the teaching profession as stipulated.
Our responsibility to teachers is very clear. It's clearly stated in our policy of DOTS. The T part of the DOTS is the teachers' support and development. We made quite a number of policies on ground. Some have been implemented, some have not been implemented, and maybe over time too, part of lack of political will. Now, this government is bringing the two on board. Our president has stated very clearly his commitment to education.
Professor Tahi says government is continuously engaging with global key players to rebrand the teaching profession. Other guests on Good Morning Nigeria who joined the conversation believe though across the country there is a renewed appreciation for teachers, more still needs to be done, especially in clear requirements for enrollment into the colleges of education and other related institutions.
That the greatest infrastructure for our educational system are teachers themselves. For many of us who are in the field are trying to implement education reform, we keep running up against a major challenge. And that challenge is that there is a gulf between the new aspirations for education and the capacity of existing teachers to deliver those aspirations.
Because teaching is not paying enough, because government is not paying enough attention to education, quality people and people with knowledge are not interested into going into the profession. Education is teachers are being demarketed by the quality of people going into teaching. We must get that right, that the best people should be the ones who go into teaching. And of course, they should earn the best. If you pay teacher, the salary you pay people who work in the central bank, or those who work in the NNPC, or those who are there, everyone would want to go and be a teacher.
To start from that point, it is very, very apt. Very apt in the sense that just like many other of the discussants here have said, teachers have not been given their due place in society.
They are unanimous that teachers play pivotal roles impacting all professions. Therefore, investing in teacher development is sacrosanct. The girls want better enumeration for teachers in appreciation of their selflessness in serving in both rural and urban areas of the country. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
The Inspector General of the Police, Kayode Egbetokun, is certain that the men and officers of the Nigerian Police will be enrolled into the Employees' Compensation Scheme to provide additional social benefits to the force. The Inspector General gave the assurance when the Managing Director of the Nigerian Social Insurance Trust Fund, Oluwaseun Fale, led the executive and senior management of the fund on an advocacy visit to the force headquarters.
We'll do everything possible, whatever that is stopping the MPF from contributing to the NSITF, we have to look into it and make sure that we make it work this time around. Then with respect to your enforcement drive, please count on us that we are going to support you all the way.
The Managing Director of the NISTF, Oluwaseun Fale, noted that the absence of compliance from the police in respect of the Employees' Compensation Scheme, but expressed optimism that the intervention of the Inspector General would turn new page in partnership.
Injury or any death arising from carrying out their active duty, then their families, their dependents would be compensated in accordance with the law. I think I want to believe that will increase gallantry, that will increase productivity.
The NSITF mandate is to implement the Employees' Compensation Scheme, under which it pays claims and compensations for injuries, diseases or deaths which may occur in the course of work. But these benefits can only be accessed by workers enrolled by their employers. And now let's turn our attention to Bayelsa State, where the governor has approved 61 billion naira as variation cost on the Nembe Brass Road project, bringing the total cost of the project to 115 billion naira. The governor said this during an inspection tour of the road and the review of the construction cost due to the current economic reality.
Good road infrastructure in any given society can never be overemphasized. As such, the Bayelsa State Governor, Thoye Dewey, is embarking on road infrastructure to open the state, and one of such roads is the Nembe Brass Road. On inspection to the 21 kilometers Nembe Brass Road project, the governor expressed satisfaction with the work done so far, noting that his administration's commitment to completing the project on scheduled time. He explained that the 54 billion naira, which was the initial budget for the project, has been reviewed 61 billion naira as a result of cost variation occasioned by inflation, bringing the cost of construction to 115 billion naira.
I'd like to use the opportunity to call on the federal government. I know I have met Mr. President on this road. About this road, I've also communicated to him, and the President assured me and even directed the Minister of Works to do the needful. We are still awaiting action, and I'm very convinced that with the interest shown by Mr. President, the second phase of this road will be awarded this year by the federal government, and we will partner as a way of partnering with the state government to ensure that our dream in our generation of driving to Brass Island will be achieved.
The Commissioner for Works and Infrastructure, Moses Taibowe, applauded the governor for the initiative and spoke further on the level of work done.
Once the bridge is through, it's only asphalt that will be remaining for them to do.
So far, 20 kilometers of the road has been sun-filled, with the governor reiterating his administration's commitment in partnering with the federal government in achieving the dream of driving to Brass Island. Timinapri, Ohia, NTA News.
This is the news desk at 3 on NTA News 24. Let's take a break now. More reports ahead.
Damn sure we are capable, reliable for your jobs. Printing your banners and books, SF even your cousin they do. If I tell you the price, if you go snooze, you go lose. Security printing, corporate gift items, outdoor advertising, including your billboards. I say direct printing textiles, so we they do them nationwide. For better printing, you call our BSF globally. So we they do as we talk, yo. We they do as we talk. Quality designs, your brand, our ego. You feel ring us, you feel call us, we go respond. Anytime when you call, anytime, any day, anytime. Say, our best step, now them sure. I say, our best step, global links. Now then we know your for your large format printing, editing printing, yeah. Our best step, global links, a touch of creativity.
Thanks for being there. Now we go to Benue State, where the newly elected local government council chairmen in the state are told to de-emphasize personal gain and uphold diligence and selflessness in the discharge of their duties. Governor Hyacinth Alia gave the charge at swearing-in ceremony of the chairman at the Government House, Makurdi. Correspondent Elias Itiav reports.
The swearing-in of the 23 local government council chairmen follows their victory in the October 5th council polls held across the state. Governor Hyacinth Alia, while congratulating the chairman and the All Progressives Congress for their emphatic victory at the polls, urged them to uphold diligence and accountability in the discharge of their duties. The governor, who encouraged them to key into the developmental strides of his administration, also called on them to turn down personal gains but engage in meaningful dialogue with all stakeholders at the grassroots level.
This is a responsibility that demands integrity, foresight, and a steadfast dedication to the principles of accountability, transparency, fairness, and honesty in all your conductions.
Chairman Vandekia Local Government Council, Dennis Guda, on behalf of his counterparts, expressed gratitude for the opportunity and pledged to replicate the governor's footsteps in making life meaningful at the third chair of government.
We will follow the footsteps in making sure that we will work in line with the 7-point agenda of your government.
With the kind of mass jubilation that heralded our victory, I am sure we cannot fail.
Councillors are to be sworn in by their chairmen subsequently in the various local government areas. In Makurdi, Elias Itiav, NTA News.
In Akwa Ibom State, Governor Umar Eno is tasking the newly elected council chairman and vice chairman to stay in their localities, deliver on their mandates, and devoid of distractions. This was during the swearing-in ceremony in Uyo. Kelvin Samuel reports from the state.
Swearing in the newly elected council chairmen and their deputies, Governor noted that no arm of government can completely operate in isolation, hence the need for council leaders to synergize with the state government to ensure the provision of democratic dividends at the grassroots. He charges them that elections are over, therefore party affiliation should be kept aside to serve the interest of the people.
Receive your funds directly. But remember, we have shared responsibilities, and those shared responsibilities must be carefully thought out. How our teachers will be paid across board, how their allowances will be paid, how their gratuities will be paid. This administration is big on welfare.
Some of the chairmen, while appreciating the governor for his support, assured that the tempo of development will be sustained and even improved upon.
But they know my capacity because I've been with them. I know what they really need as a local government.
I will make sure that whatever the governor, His Excellency Governor Minor, is doing in the state, in his Arise agenda, I'll do the same to my people.
I expect inclusiveness. Everybody will be carried along.
The People's Democratic Party, PDP, won 30 out of the 31 local government areas, while APC won in the Senudem local government area. From the government house, Uyo, Kelvin Samuel, NTA News.
And from Rivers State, there are reports that suspected hoodlums have set ablaze Eleme and Ikwere local government secretariats in Rivers State few hours after the elected 23 local government chairmen were sworn in by Governor Fubara. Let's join our correspondent, Kingsley Amajuri in Port Harcourt, to give us an update on what's happening there. Hello, Kingsley.
Hello, welcome to Rivers State, and of course we are here at the LML Local Government Council headquarters in Ogali. This is one of the council headquarters that was attacked early hours of today when the authorities came to resume duties at this place. You could see the main building here has been destroyed by the attackers. This is a concern that is raging in the state, and of course, since the current leadership of the council took over, we are sworn in by the governor, Siminalayi Fubara, yesterday. They were directed to go and resume duties and also ensure that they maintain law and order in their domain. We reliably gather that when the council chairman here came here this morning to resume duties, this is what they met, and exactly all the structures here have been set ablaze. But that did not deter them. We also gathered that he went ahead to swear in his councillors, and for them, this is a kind of setback to the administration, but it is not going to deter the regime towards ensuring that they deliver on the dividend of democracy for which they were elected. I have here, of course, the chairman of LML local government area, Honorable Brent. Let's get his perspective of what exactly transpired here and how he feels about it, its implication on his regime. Honorable Sir, could you just tell us what was your encounter here when you arrived this morning?
Well, before this morning, we gathered intelligence reports that the hoodlums want to set the secretariat ablaze. We communicated this information to the security agencies. But coming to resume office this morning, we met what you are seeing here, that the council has put down. So it is for us, this is a setback, it's a high level of distraction, but however, we are not going to be distracted.
Were there any form of casualty in terms of, aside for the property destroyed, there any form of casualty, and what next line of action are you intending to take with regards to what has happened here?
Well, you recall that earlier this morning, immediately after the incident, the Legislative Assembly did their first sitting today, and as part of their resolution, they urged me to, as a matter of urgency, to see what we can do to replace or to repair what has been damaged, so that we can carry out our duties. So our next line of action is to ensure that this place is put back to use so that council staff and politicians can resume duties here.
All right. Were there any form of arrest that was done with regards to this destruction? Were there people that were arrested in
All right, we'll reconnect with Kingsley and Marjorie when we're able to connect back. We seem to be having network challenge there because we would like to know if this crisis has anything to do. Okay, I've been told that we've re-established connection with Kingsley and Marjorie in Port Harcourt.
Of course, like I have the area established, you heard from the chairman of LML local government area who has asserted that what has happened here will not deter them. And of course, the Legislative Assembly has also commenced their sitting. And for the people of LMA, they look forward to this administration, like other local government areas, with the new set of leadership in place to ensure that what they are elected for in terms of governance, they will go ahead and deliver it to the people. Not just, don't also forget that before now, this council secretariat across the 23 local government areas in the state were sealed off by the police authorities, but with the swearing-in ceremony conducted for this set of council legislators, the police authority directed that the councils be reopened for the democratic institutions to perform their duties, and that is what they are out here to do. It's back to you.
All right, Kingsley, I was going to ask you before we lost that connection with you. I wanted to know if this crisis had anything to do with or in connection with the local government chairman that was sworn in, and if any arrest so far has been made in connection to this.
Of course, it has something to do with the local government council chairman have been sworn in. Recall that before now, when the last administration, their tenure elapsed, and there was this concern on the regime, the last council, House of Assembly led by the Amehule faction had extended the tenure of the last regime, but the governor went ahead and appointed caretaker committee chairman, and that raised tension in the state. Because of that, this place, the councils were locked up. And of course, when you now see that this set of council chairmen have resumed duties, for those of them that feel dissatisfied, there is the possibility that that would have aggravated their concern for coming up with what we are seeing.
Kingsley Marjorie, for your contribution from River State there. We will keep in touch with you to know how things unfold in that area. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
And with that, we conclude the news at this time. Many thanks for watching. I am Comfort Amodu.